Hello everyone, my name is Karin Bru. I'm from Slovakia and a proud member of the Mission 65 crew of Habitat Marte. And today I will present you my findings about the greenhouse in the habitat and later on Mars. First of all, the location of the greenhouse is kind of a center point of the entire Mars habitat. And we will be talking about a couple of different topics. I'm not going to read all of them to you because we're going through them anyway. Starting with internal design. So the diameter of the greenhouse building is 8 meters and there are 3 levels. I would propose to use the bottom level for emergency crew quarters with 4 bunk beds, with a small kitchen, a small bathroom. There should also be a water tank, as we are very much dependent on access to liquid water for growing the plants. There will also be a battery storage room, a tool shed for everything that we need to maintain the greenhouse. A room for a 3D printer for food processing equipment, and also a small laboratory for experiments related to food. There will also be an uninterrupted power supply, as also light and temperature control is very important to keep food production running without interruption. So on the middle level of the greenhouse, we will grow some staples like wheat, rice, corn, potatoes, etc. We will grow vegetables with a kind of seasonal change. So that means that we won't grow the same vegetables all the time because people will get bored eating the same thing all the time. We will also grow some berries and fruits. And this level will include a test field where we can make experiments of what to grow, maybe cross some plant species to create new plants that are better suitable for Mars, etc. What we have to consider is that is the culture of the people living there, of the 28 settlers, because obviously anybody who's been traveling to other countries, to different parts of the world, knows that we eat different foods in different cultures, and people have different preferences depending on their culture. The Biosphere 2 experiment basically failed mainly because of the topic of food. And so food should be, first of all, cultural adequate, but it should also not only focus on nutrition. We should have also some fun food. We should maybe have some chocolate, some things that we don't necessarily need, but that we want, because we don't want to just survive on Mars. We want to strive and enjoy our lives there. Right. On the top level, we will also grow vegetables, also berries and fruits. We will also additionally grow spices and herbs, and also some medicinal plants. So we can extract some ingredients that we can then use to prevent health issues or to cure any diseases in cooperation with the health center and the surgeons working there. The top level will also include a relaxation area that can be used for reading, for meditation, for some light exercise, and it will also have a viewpoint, so we can maybe look back at planet Earth or stargaze or observe some astronomical events. I would also suggest that this area will have some basic exercise equipment, not big machines, but like power bands or gyrotates. These are small equipments that can easily be used if some of the astronauts and settlers want to do some workouts in something that at least a bit resembles outdoor nature. So the technologies we will apply. The walls of the greenhouse should be built from solar panels that will be transparent, so they can be used as windows in lunar or Martian habitats. They should still shield against cosmic radiation, and they should at the same time produce electricity. I know that this material doesn't exist, but I don't know what should stop us from inventing it. And we should invent it in a way that this would be printable from material that is found or mined on Mars, so we don't have to import anything from Earth. We should look at concepts of horizontal and vertical gardens and use hydroponics as well. Now, other technology that we need there is, of course, a system for temperature regulations. And probably the greenhouse will have to be physically split into different areas, because different plants require different temperatures, different levels of humidity, etc. We will need an irrigation system. I have also thought we should integrate a ventilation system for pollination for those plants that are usually pollinated by the wind. So we should simulate wind in the greenhouse. We should have some robots for plant care and harvesting. We will definitely need sensors monitoring systems for air quality, in terms of levels of oxygen, levels of carbon dioxide, humidity, air temperature, and also sensors and monitoring systems for water reserves, like how much water is still there, how much have we used, what is the quality of the water, etc. And last not least, there should also be sensors and monitoring systems for the soil quality, like how many and which nutrients are in the soil, what's the humidity of the soil, temperature of the soil, which can obviously be different from the air temperature. And there should be an automatic system for monitoring the degree of ripeness. Yeah, it can be a camera with color recognition. Yeah, if a tomato is red, it's ready to pick. And we can even have an app for this, so the settlers can see, oh, today we have tomatoes, tomorrow we have broccoli. So it can there can be a bit of gamification included as an entertainment. Right, resources to generate. Obviously, initial seedlings, saplings must be imported from Earth, because we have to start with something. But then the greenhouse should be self-sustaining. That means we should always, from our harvest, take some seeds. We should take some saplings, etc., seedlings from our own harvest, so we don't have to constantly import these things from Earth. Fertilizer should be generated from bio-waste. That will be the feces of the humans living there, food scraps, and there have also been some experiments using actually human hair, because we are losing some hair and it's growing and we're cutting it, and this hair can also be used to fertilize plants on Mars. The goal is to overproduce a bit, because we need seeds and saplings, etc. we should create emergency stocks. So if something is wrong for whatever reason, then we still have a number of days of preserved food that we can use in case of emergency. And then, of course, we should start building up supplies for the growth of the colony, be it that natural reproduction, the 28 initial settlers will procreate, or we're getting new arrivals from planet Earth. So we should be prepared to have some additional food for these cases. So the management, we have a chief gardener, we have an assistant / researcher who will be working there part-time, and we also have a technician working there part-time. These two will work part-time because the greenhouse will be highly automated, so there will not be the need of so many full-time people to operate it. Right, so the chief gardener responsibilities is, of course, planning of planting cycles, calculation of the required food and quantities and quality, the monitoring of the plants, the plant health, etc., the regular sampling to determine levels of bacteria, fungi, virus in the plants, in the soil, and of course monitoring all the systems and maintaining health and safety in the greenhouse. So the required education and experience should be a master's degree in horticulture, minimum 15 years of practical experience in different climate zones, because obviously plants growing in a desert-like environment require different care than plants in the tropical areas. The chief gardener needs also to have problem solving and decision-making skills and excellent knowledge of first aid, because accidents obviously can happen. The assistant and / researcher will be responsible to help the chief gardener whenever and wherever necessary, and should conduct research on plant health, on new plant cultures, and maybe also on innovative growing methods that are more appropriate for life on Mars. And the required education and experience for that position is obviously also a degree in horticulture, minimum 5 years of practical experience in different climate zones. As a researcher, obviously also in-depth knowledge of research methods, and as well excellent knowledge of first aid. Yeah, the technician, as it's only a part-time job, we can co-use the technician that is responsible for our other areas in the habitat. And we don't have to have just one person dedicated as a technician to the greenhouse. Right, the topics of training for the greenhouse for everyone working in there is obviously new skills identified on Mars regarding to food production, general topics of horticulture, general knowledge of nutrition, so they can also make informed decision about which plants to grow. Astrobiology, so they understand how the impact on the planet. Climate science, because Mars has its own climate, obviously. Also, research methods, problem solving and decision making, and of course first aid, regular first aid training. So they have it fresh in their memory. YouTube videos, there are a couple of videos, but really none of them has any tailored content for astronauts, so there is still a gap, and tailored content still has to be developed in a large scale, I would say. Now we come to resources. Food resources for 28 astronauts. We need about 2.1 kilos per day per astronaut, so 411.6 kilos a week for the entire crew. This does not include the building up of emergency stocks. To be self-sustainable, one needs about 40 square meters of plant growing area for one person. That would obviously add up to 1,120 square meters for 28 astronauts, and the greenhouse has a planting area of approximately 100 square meters with its diameter of 8 meters. So we have a bit of a challenge with the size of the greenhouse. How can we overcome this challenge? We can build the greenhouse larger in diameter, or we can add more levels. Or we need 2 greenhouses. So guidelines to be provided to other facilities or the entire station. Obviously daily routines, harvesting, planting, work in the greenhouse, the harvesting schedules. It's important for also the people who will do the cooking for the crew. Statistics about food production and consumptions, guidelines for water consumptions are very important. Also guidelines for growing food outside the greenhouse, as we said that every station will have their own small area where they grow some food for emergency or practical purposes. Then guidelines for the greenhouse's contribution to psychological health and crew well-being, especially in cooperation with the medical center. Also guidelines for a potential lockdown included scheduled lockdown rehearsals, for example, if we have a virus on the station. And then there will be some events in the greenhouse, for example, viewing of astronomical events from the viewpoint on the top level in the relaxation area. So the greenhouse will also contribute a little bit to the entertainment. Protocols to be followed is obviously protocols for plant growing and plant care. Then protocols for plant health, how to keep the plants healthy and detect immediately if a plant is not healthy. Then planning documents for sowing, planting, plant rotation. So when do we plant which vegetables, how do we rotate over the year that we have a variety in our diet. Protocols for harvesting, when do we harvest, who will harvest, how much will we harvest, etc. Then obviously protocols for greenhouse maintenance. How often does the irrigation system have to be inspected, etc. Then we need guidelines for plantation experiments, for example, for creating new crossovers between 2 plants that are maybe more suitable for Mars. We need protocols for waste disposal. What do we do with any waste that we have from the plants themselves or from the humans, from their activities in the greenhouse? We need guidelines for harvest conservation. Do we freeze dry some vegetables, or do we can vegetables, or do we just normally dry them? And how do we build an emergency stock from that? Then protocols for cooperation with the health center relating to the psychological health and well-being of the entire crew. General protocols for research and innovation. How do we handle our research, and how do we foster innovation? And then obviously protocols for daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly reporting to the leader of the station. Protocols of safety. We need general health and safety protocols, what to do, what not to do, how often to wash the hands, etc. Protocols regarding hygiene in the greenhouse, and that's not only like human hygiene, but also not how do we as humans not contaminate plants with our bacteria or fungi, etc., more than absolutely necessary. We need protocols for dealing with plant diseases. We need guidelines for emergency drills. For example, if there have been an accident, there was a fire, water leak, solar flares, outbreak of a virus, etc. And also the protocols for dealing with the actual emergencies. And then protocols for safe handling of plant seeds, etc., to ensure that Mars is not polluted by us at this stage. Protocol for occupancy and entertainment. The crew can harvest their own food if they want. So they have a bit of activity in the green. They get a bit of movement, and they can touch the plants and maybe even feel the rain from the irrigation system and the wind from the pollination system. So it's a bit of a psychological relaxing activities. It'll also be a general green retreat for all inhabitants. There will be this viewing area on the top level, maybe like a window to earth. This will include a possibility for yoga, meditation, light exercise. We can have some events there. For example, there will be a reading or a concert or something like that. And medical doctors can prescribe time in the greenhouse for mental relaxation. Food micro-production. As the greenhouse handles the main production, there will not be any micro-production since we produce everything there. 3D printing. What we need to print is first and foremost containers for food storage and food transports. For example, transporting from the greenhouse to the kitchen. We might need some gardening tools. As we have robots and machines in the greenhouse, we might have to print some spare parts for those in case of maintenance or repair. And we can look at experimental printing of foods from biomaterial. Yeah, that we actually can print a pancake or something like that. However, we don't foresee a permanent need for 3D printing in the greenhouse. So the greenhouse printer will be available as a backup system to the other stations who have a lot more to print. Spin-offs, technologies that could be applied to Earth. That is like saving resources, technology to reduce energy consumption, to reduce water consumptions, and to avoid food waste. In general, improve waste management, waste avoidance, and recycling of whatever we produce and use. The plant cultivation experiments, especially since we will discover new technologies to grow plants in a very small space. It can be used for city gardening, and experience with irrigation and fertilization, as well as vertical gardening, can also help growing food in regions on Earth with scarce resources, for example, in the deserts on Earth. And we will gain some experience in growing new plant species in extreme conditions that could also be implemented in extreme conditions on Earth. And last not least, we expect to invent some improved techniques for food preserving and storage. And since the population on Earth is still growing, we will have more need for such techniques. Right. Guidelines that can be applied to daily life here on Earth is improved health management, because we have to absolutely use all resources to make sure that we don't get sick and don't get injured. Improved resilience, for example, in situations like the current pandemic, how best to deal psychologically with isolation, with restrictions, etc. General improved guidelines for psychological health and well-being, as we will do also a lot of experiments and will gain a lot of experience. More strict health and safety measures. Also to have the psychological understanding that it is necessary to implement health and safety measures. One example is most of the accidents on Earth actually happen at home. So we need to be more aware of the necessity of having a fire extinguisher in our flat or house, and having a fire alarm, and having safety procedures in place in our own living areas on Earth. I think a lot of accidents could be prevented if we generate more awareness about these topics. We will have a better preparedness for accidents or catastrophes. We will also benefit in the areas of education in general. We will create some new approaches to education, and will find better ways for education in remote areas. In terms of contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, we expect quite a lot of contributions in this area. For example, the goal number 1 is reduction of poverty. We can improve the economy on Earth by getting the space economy going. Because there is sometimes a discussion, why are we investing in space exploration if we have enough problems on Earth? But first of all, we actually solve problems on Earth with space technology. And secondly, maybe more importantly, every single cent we spend on space exploration is spent here on Earth. We don't shoot money to the moon. We spend it here on Earth, in companies, generating profits, offering employment to people. So in general, the space exploration will definitely help reducing poverty here on Earth. We also touch the second goal, less hunger, because we are researching into new possibilities of producing and also storing food. We will have better physical and psychological health based on the findings from Mars. We will have a better education through better systems and new content that we are developing in this area. We will improve the water quality and achieve a better use of water by implementing the Mars greenhouse technologies here on Earth. Also energy saving technologies to be implemented here on Earth. We will make progress in terms of responsible consumption techniques that we can transfer to Earth. And of course, the settlement of Mars cannot be the effort of one single nation. Even if we just send astronauts from one nation to Mars, there has to be international cooperation all along the process. So the partnership through international cooperation and enhanced intercultural competence in the greenhouse will also make a contribution to the goal number 17. Where I see a bit of a deficit is the goal number 5. We do still not see sufficient effort for gender equality in space exploration. It is still male dominated. Women are getting more and more involved, but we're still waiting for the first female NASA director, for the first female ESA director, for the first female German astronaut, etc., etc. More importantly, goal number 10, there is actually a risk that colonizing Mars, as we call it, and it's in the word colonizing, will actually add to inequality. So if some country or a company will just say, okay, Mars is ours, then that actually creates more inequality than we already have. So we need to be very, very careful about this and need to closely monitor the situation for these two goals. Okay, that was it from my side for the greenhouse. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, if you want to discuss, etc. Here are my contact details. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm really hoping for a lot of fruitful discussion over the next couple of years. Thank you.